On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. These two guys are probably going to see the inside of a coffin. Just pretty sure what's going to happen. Don't know. They're going to go through their crime assessment, and we'll see how that goes. Got a big show. Got a lot going on, and I think it's going to be a little on the longer side, so I apologize in advance, but it should be a good one. We got a lot going on. I talked to Mike Lindel today. Got a pretty sweet deal going on for you guys. And he needs some help, too, so we're going to talk about those things. Hakeem Jeffries has gotten himself in a little bit of, I don't want to say hot water, but trust issues with his own people. He tries to make this super relatable post, I guess, where he's like leaning against a park bench, but a whole bunch of people realized he obviously did some Photoshop action here because the bending of the wood. Yeah, he tried to skinny himself up. Looks like somebody's gotten a little pudgy. Makes his forearms look really small, too. Bud, you need to maybe jerk it a little more often, man. Get some forearm strength going on. Anyway, just saying. DNC Chair on Mamdani not condemning Intifada's slogan. He says, we're a big tent. He didn't necessarily like what he said, but he was saying this, of course, on PBS. This is why that needs to stop being funded by our taxpayer money. But DNC Chair Ken Martin responded to New York City's mayoral candidate, Zoran Mamdani, refusing to condemn the phrase globalize the Intifada by saying that he doesn't agree with anyone 100%, but we win by bringing people into that coalition. And at the end of the day, for me, that's the type of party we're going to lead. We're a big tent party. Yes, it leads to dissent and debate, and there are differences of opinions on the whole host of issues, but as we should celebrate that as a party and recognize at the end of the day, we're better because of it. I don't know. There was a question they ended up asking him about, there's a lot of Jews in New York, and certainly your party. That doesn't go over well, that whole globalized Intifada thing. Just saying. But, he likes, the big tent, I guess, the big top. I think he's probably because he's from a circus, is really what I think's going on. Secret Service is suspending 6 agents after the Trump assassination attempt in Butler. A short little spit here, even though it's not my girl Tiffany, but I got her coming up, don't you worry.
The Secret Service says it suspended 6 agents without pay in connection with last year's assassination attempt on President Trump. The suspensions came after intense scrutiny over security lapses at the Pennsylvania rally. Deputy Director Matt Quinn told CBS News their penalties ranged from 10 to 42 days of unpaid leave. They were placed in lower-level roles when they returned. The July 13th, 2024 shooting left 1 man dead, 2 wounded, and President Trump with an injury to his ear. The gunman, Thomas Crooks, was shot dead by a Secret Service sniper. Quinn told CBS the agency is focused on fixing systemic failures that led to the breach. The Secret Service has since deployed new drones and mobile command posts to improve response and coordination.
Now, still a lot of discussion around whether there was additional shooters. And I think most of us would think that had to have been the case, especially considering how many shots were coming through. Likely, I think the water tower is probably the most likely place for that to have happened. They didn't have any drones checking it out, so a whole bunch of stuff just went wrong. So, yes, Spy Court approves the FBI's effort to share new evidence with Congress. We got some major stuff playing out right now. So the nation's Spy Court quietly approved a Justice Department request to review information tied to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrants that targeted former Trump campaign associate Carter Page as FBI Director Kash Patel seeks to hand over more Russiagate evidence to Congress. The whole Russiagate thing is beginning to unravel for the bad guys. It's moving forward. Just to remind people, Kash Patel was the chief investigator back during the whole Russia hoax thing. Here he was talking to, oh man, why am I drawing a blank on this dude's name? It's not Ratcliffe. It's, I can't remember his name. Whatever. I apologize. Don't email me. It'll either be on the screen or it'll come to us. Nunes. There it is. Frick. I save myself some emails. It makes me happy. Needless to say, here we go.
Through our investigative process, we found out that a firm representing Christopher Steele, Fusion GPS, was somehow involved in the matter.
Following the money. If we could follow the money, we would ultimately figure out who was paying Fusion GPS.
I walked him through the investigation. I said, this is why I think this happened. This source said X. We can prove it if we subpoena the bank. And he's like, you want to subpoena a bank? I said, Devin, give me one subpoena, and if I'm wrong, you can fire me. He gave me the subpoena, and we went after the bank. It wasn't like we served the subpoena and everybody went away. Fusion GPS forced us into federal court into litigation over the subpoena itself. And that was when everybody was like, we're on to something.
Fusion GPS is a they're very talented at what they do. They're a racketeering outfit. They're essentially, they make things up about people. They spread it to the people in the press. They get them to run the fake news stories. And then even worse, then they find different ways to feed it into the FBI.
And all of these things sort of started coming together in a very unusual fashion. I said, Devin, we're following the money, and I'm going to tell you right now that the DNC and Hillary paid for this. It was 9 a.m. on a weekday, and he literally looks at me and he goes, Cash, if you're going to start drinking this morning, get out of my office. It always goes back to the money, and it's the easiest thing to follow because you have to document it in some fashion or you got to move it in some way. We were able to, pursuant to the judge's authority, allow myself and one other colleague to visit banks' attorneys and review in closed session the records. And we were not allowed to disclose it to anybody what we reviewed. And then finally, on the eve of the ruling of the court, Fusion disclosed that Christopher Steele had been paid by the DNC themselves. There were names that would eventually come out that were being paid by Fusion. Names now that are public, but at the time weren't. Nellie Orr, the wife of Bruce Orr, was being paid by Fusion GPS. We would come to learn to do Russian intelligence information gathering and then submit it to the FBI. We were able to figure out that the attorneys, Perkins Coie, were the attorneys for the DNC. Nellie had been working, Bruce's wife, had been working for Fusion GPS. The folks that Perkins Coie paid $10 million to, and then they took that $10 million and paid Christopher Steele $168,000 to dig up dirt. They paid Nellie Orr, I think, $50,000 to do her research against the president and his daughter. And they fed all of that directly to the Bureau, who then used it in the FISA and in the investigation against the president. So now you've connected the money and the people and put the political party right in the middle of your opponent. It's outrageous.
Yeah, outrageous is for sure. And again, here was Trey Gowdy talking to Brennan back in the day. Again, all of this stuff is now coming to the surface. We're just doing some refreshes. There's Cash Patel in the background yet again. Check it out.
Did evidence exist of collusion, coordination, conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russian state actors at the time you learned of 2016 efforts?
I encountered and am aware of information and intelligence that revealed contacts and interactions between Russian officials and U.S. persons involved in the Trump campaign that I was concerned about because of known Russian efforts to suborn such individuals, and it raised questions in my mind, again, whether or not the Russians were able to gain the cooperation of those individuals. I don't know whether or not such collusion, that's your term, such collusion existed. I don't know. But I know that there was a sufficient basis of information and intelligence that required further investigation by the Bureau to determine whether or not U.S. persons were actively conspiring, colluding with Russian officials.
And we, of course, now know because they've released the documents that the CIA had, politicizing all this information, as well as the FBI information that said they didn't want to release what they knew because it would look bad because Chris Wray just testified the day before to Congress saying the opposite. These guys are in a huge amount of trouble. Congressman Jim Jordan penned an article for the Federalist titled Jim Jordan, a look back on the Russia, Mueller, Flynn investigations, which simply states, we were right about everything. Yeah, we're coming to terms with the big picture. This is going to be some pretty huge news once we finally move that all forward. Comey was tailed, by the way, after he did his little 86-47 when he did the seashell thing, right? Susie sells seashells by the seashore. Well, Comey got himself in a little bit of trouble when he posted that and literally immediately was tailed for a period of time, frankly, according to reports by the New York Times, which we can't trust normally. Former FBI Director James Comey, who was all the controversy, right? The next day, apparently law enforcement authorities tailed Comey and his wife as they drove from North Carolina vacation through Virginia to their Washington area home, a move typically reserved for serious threats. This tailing operation, which included tracking Comey's cell phone, came after Donald Trump Jr. accused Comey on social media of casually calling for my dad to be murdered. Of course, the 8647 phrase combining slang for dismissal, as they would say, or removal. All said, we all know what it means, obviously. We got here. Oh, flash flood warnings. All right, so a lot of flooding stuff going on. Again, there's a lot of speculation about whether this was caused by cloud seeding or any other technologies. Strong chance that it was. I had one individual straight up reach out and say, this definitely happened. And I'm like, all right, give me your sources, because all you're telling me is just a bunch of crap in an email. I want to see sources. Again, it's not responsible of me to say for sure that this happened that way. We have some evidence, but we also have the cloud seeding company, at least in Texas, telling us they didn't. Again, right? That doesn't mean they didn't, right? We don't trust anybody. But cloud seeding generally is more of a locational thing. We've got flooding happening all over the bloody place. Again, not trying to say anything, okay? I'm just trying to give facts. Washington, D.C., they've got a flood alert going on today, right now, I think, at least close to right now. That happened. We've also got this one here. This is all the floods that have happened. Obviously, Texas, crazy. If there's cloud seeding by that one company, then it would have been here. I don't know. Maybe they're doing cloud seeding every way these storms are going, but there is flooding happening. All these little green places are extreme flooding all over the place. So again, I don't know. I mean, again, it's just facts, just trying to give you facts. Here is the company being asked about their cloud seeding of the day, or the day before, or 2 days before in Texas. Check it out.
Whether or not Rainmaker, cloud seeding on July 2nd contributed to storms that occurred on July 4th. Did it enhance? Did it intensify what we saw some 36 to 48 hours later?
Unequivocally, our cloud seeding operations on July 2nd did not impact the flooding that occurred later. And that said, my heart and prayers are still with all of the people of Texas and all the families that have been affected. It was a tragedy. But in cloud seeding on the 2nd, one, we are regulated by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, and we have what are called suspension criteria, where if there are National Weather Service flash flood warnings or severe storm warnings, then we cannot operate in those areas per the restrictions and regulations we have. Our meteorologists actually proactively suspended operations a day before the National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning. So we were ahead of the curve.
Again, maybe they had something to do with it. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I'm not going to try to say one way or the other. Definitely not my place to say. Lee Zeldin put this out. Americans, I should say, have questions about geoengineering and contrails. They expect honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. For years, people who asked questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own governments. This ends today. So finally, we're looking into this. We already know of a couple states that have made it illegal to do this kind of behavior, so that's a step in the right direction as well, so fantastic. Again, want to remind you guys of Healthy Home. A lot of things going on with Healthy Home. First off, I got my good friend, Gary, who's doing Healthy Home across America. It's almost like Hands Across America. I don't know if you guys remember that. But he's cruising around all sorts of cool places on Route 66, taking Prime with him wherever he goes. He actually said he's been able to do 8-hour drives easily because of the Prime. Normally 6.5 is kind of the direction he goes. So again, Prime across America. Prime across the land I love. Hey, I don't know, making up songs. I think it's like Hands Across America, if I remember correctly. That was so long ago. I was actually a part of that, by the way. I made the chain, man. I was part of the chain, baby. That was my very liberal mother took us out there, but I'm glad I was a part of it. It was actually very, very cool. So yeah, a lot of good stuff going on with my good friend Gary. I think I actually downloaded a couple other pictures. He sent me a bunch of pictures. This guy's been busy. He's been busy. So fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Of course, In-N-Out Burger, which to a Californian's like, meh. But to someone that's not from California, that is the mecca of hamburgers, many would say. I don't necessarily agree, but it's a good burger. I wouldn't put it much higher than that. Anyway, drive safely or carefully, come back soon. What's Yesco? I don't know what that is. I don't know what this is. Whatever, it's cool. Nonetheless, thank you, Gary. And again, Prime, just huge energy. It's an amazing energy product, and I highly recommend it. And you guys probably want to check it out, especially if you're on the older side and you got grandkids and stuff, and you just find yourself sometimes not having enough energy, or you got house chores and yard work, and you're just like, man, I just don't feel it. I'm telling you, Prime is amazing. It expands your blood vessels. It causes more oxygen to travel through your blood vessels. It's a powder. Literally, you'll feel it working within 5 minutes of taking it. It's incredible. It's incredible. Also, of course, healing your stem cells. Stem cells are healing cells, or cells that can become any part of the body. You got skin, you cut yourself, you need skin cells to help repair that skin, right? You got a pulled muscle or a damaged muscle, you need stem cells to go on and become muscle cells. Same's going to be with your kidneys, with your liver, your heart, whatever, right? Lungs, whatever you need healing, stem cells are what do that for you. And what happens is as we age, the number of stem cells starts to decrease. Stem Active doesn't put stem cells inside of you. That's typically done with an injection, and they're usually fetal stem cells, like from aborted fetuses. That's pretty disgusting. No, not Stem Active. Stem Active's got like plant-based healthy materials that cause your own body to produce 25 to 40% more stem cells in minutes. It's very fast acting. These pills are those little gel caps, right? Or you can get the gel, which is a liquid, essentially. That gets into your system probably a hair faster than these, but these are pretty darn quick. So again, stem cells, and they've also got them for pets, by the way, at the very end, pet stem cell or pet Stem Active. And again, it's about half the price of regular Stem Active for adults. It's a good way to help. You got a pet that's gone through surgery, maybe got some, got some arthritis or some of the things that happen as we get older, and, a little bit of healing help might go a long way. Highly recommend getting the Stem Active for your pets. Makes a big difference. Also, a very good friend of the channel has been telling us how Balance is helping her. It's helping bring balance back. The very first day she used Balance, no hot flashes. She was able to sleep. And I'm knowing her husband, Nick, who's a very loving husband, probably noticed it was just a happier relationship for that day. I bet Nick is enjoying the balance that Balance has brought to their lovely lives. Again, hormone support. It's not putting hormones inside of you. That's bad. Be very careful about taking hormone support therapy ever. Testosterone for men, not a good idea. Be very careful. Read up on it, because when you start taking in hormones, like testosterone for an example, your body starts decreasing its production of it because it already notices there's an elevated amount. Oh, okay, well, you don't need what I'm doing. I'll stop. So it doesn't necessarily give you more hormones. It actually causes your body to start shutting down hormone production. You don't want to do that, right? So there's things you can do, stuff you can take that helps your body produce more hormones. That's what Balance is doing. It's a transdermal lotion. So you put a little bit on your wrist, you rub your wrists together, bada bing, bada boom. You've got it in you, and within minutes, you'll actually start feeling better. You're going to have less problems with sleep. You're going to have less problems with your moods. You're going to have less problems with just all the things that you're having to navigate as you go through this change in your life. Balance is going to help do exactly that, bring back balance. And Amaze will exactly do that. It will amaze you, and it'll amaze your friends. They're going to wonder, how the heck are you staying so young looking? Your skin looks radiant. This right here, this little packet, this little juicy, yummy packet will change your whole life. Lemon berry is what they call it. It's very yummy, actually. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Get yourself some Prime. Get yourself some Amaze, the collagen peptide supplement. This skin, sagging skin, sore muscles, joint discomfort, all that stuff. Lifeless hair, nails, all that stuff is going to be helped with this wonderful collagen peptide that you can get. Again, powerful products. Healthy Home is amazing, high quality, amazing products that actually do what we say. I love this stuff. I'm using it. Here's my Stem Active. I took it this morning, right? I even take the Sculpt, which is a different product. That's the Root brands, right? But I take this. Here's my wellness company stuff. Like, this is the ivermectin mebendazole parasite cleanse. I'm not messing. I'm all over this stuff. Again, I got my Prime right here. Did it this morning. Love it. Huge energy. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com just to spend a couple seconds on it. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do, though. What I wanted to do was go to join. When you join or when you shop, essentially, you're going to be offered 3 ways to join. You can either join as a customer, assuming it gets there somewhat quick enough. I will be in the USA. Oh, it makes you do it that way? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you can join as a customer. You can join as a business, or again, you can do it a number of ways. What I do recommend is that you join as a customer, or sorry, as an executive member. If you join as an executive member, you're going to find you just have to buy one thing. You don't have to pay a monthly fee. You get the lowest prices possible, and you actually get your own link where you can actually sell to other people. So for any of you guys that have businesses, any of you guys doing any social media, any of you guys doing anything like that, try the product. Make sure you agree with what I say. I'm almost 100% sure you will. And then sign up as an executive member. You're going to become the benefit of it. It becomes your own link, like danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. It'll be you.healthyhome.com. You choose your business name, all that stuff. Put it in there. This is a great place to find a home. Healthy products, healthy living. You will be amazed at how it works out for you. So please check it out. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Healthy living, healthy choices, a healthy life. That's for sure. Did X's CEO resign because she couldn't keep Musk in check? There's a lot of people speculating that might be the case. Don't know, but the timing of it certainly very interesting. Musk is kind of, I don't know, off his rocker. We've also got XAI doing some weird stuff that they're working through. In fact, I think I've got a comment somewhere over here, Musk talking about what the problem was. And it's programming, folks. It's programming, unquestionably. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we ever find out more. I don't know if Yacarino's ever going to say anything. Her words were kind. Musk's words were very curt, if that would be fair to say. His response was like, where did he say? Serbian, I forget where it says it. But yeah, he gave, thank you for your contributions. That's it. That's all Musk wrote. That's it. That's all she wrote. French intelligence chief says U.S. overstated Iran's strike impact. They said we don't know where the uranium is. This is what they're basing it off of. We don't know where the uranium is. We don't know if you got it all. That wasn't what we were trying to do there, Frenchy French. All right? This is one of the many reasons why douchey French people really bother me. That's not what Trump said. We destroyed their ability to take that powder and turn it into a weapon. There's 3 different parts of that has to happen. They hadn't purified it far enough or enriched it far enough. It needed to get to 90%. Then you need something that's able to actually create the weapon from that enriched 90%. Then from there, you need to be able to get that put onto a weapon. There's a few things that have to happen. Special technology that used to exist in that underground bunker that has since been destroyed. Whether or not we got all the uranium, we don't know. They had supposedly 400 kilograms. Trump said it was really heavy. That's one thing that kind of dawned on me the other day. I'm like, it's really heavy. And it is. Uranium's very, very heavy. You know, if you had like a big baseball sized thing of uranium in your hand, which would probably kill you, but it would be heavy as hell. It'd be very, very heavy. It'd be heavier than lead. You can imagine a lead baseball, how heavy that would be. Yeah, this would be even heavier. Problem is, Trump's like, it's very heavy stuff. Well, it was 400 kilograms. We know exactly how heavy it was. It's not like it was rocket science there, right? You don't have to do any mind bending. You just have to know there's, 2.2 pounds per kilogram, or is it the other way around? Whatever the case is, you kind of know exactly what it weighs. So if it was 800 plus pounds or 1,000 pounds, is that heavy? I don't know. Might be hard to move around. I mean, it's dust, basically, so there's probably something to be said, but whatever the case is, I don't know. We'll find out. Get the hell off American agriculture. Damn straight, I should say. U.S. moves to ban farmland sales to China. I just wanted to re-bring it up. I've been talking about this for a couple days, but we are moving in that direction. And what I brought this up specifically, I almost forgot. That's why I put war crimes in there, trying to remind myself. The thing that jumped out at me, we know that China messed with our elections, right? We knew they created a bunch of driver's licenses, and then they flooded a bunch of fake ballots and all this kind of stuff. In fact, Mike Lindel, I asked him that very question. You'll hear this in a little while. But he thinks it's even more than 1.5 million. That's huge, plus all the other countries that were involved. But if China did, in fact, do that, that's a war crime. If they committed a war crime, we're allowed to actually, for damages, we could seize property, couldn't we? Any property that China owns in the United States could very easily be seized legally. You owe us money. We're going to first off take all the property you have here in the United States, and we're going to take that as repayment, and then we're going to tell you what you still owe us. So I think there might be something to that. So again, there might be some radical movements that Trump makes in the not too distant future. Give him some time as we work through all the nonsense that we're currently going through. With all the stuff south of the border, right? Sanctuary states have released more than 25,000 criminal illegals without alerting ICE. It's not so much that they didn't alert ICE, in my opinion, that sucks. It's that there was 25,000 criminals that were illegal also that they just released into the streets. Go ahead, commit crime once again, you crazy person, you. Huh? That's stupid. Here's another article where I feel like the attitude of the article is that, you know, we're not spending enough money in other areas potentially, but 2/3 of all federal law enforcement funding in the United States for fiscal year 2025 is going to immigration and border enforcement. So they're putting their money where their mouth is. This is the purple part. $33.93 billion is immigration stuff, dealing with custom border patrol, immigration's custom enforcement, obviously flying people back, U.S. citizenship and immigration services, all these people, Department of Homeland Security is getting some of that, right? Coast Guard's getting some of that. Whole lot of money is being spent protecting our border and getting people back. Let's call it home. Yeah, it sounds nicer, right? We're just sending them home. That's all we're doing. One person injured after protesters cling to the hood of an ICE van. Yeah, it's another one of these little moves where people think they can just hold onto the car and, you know, not get run over. She got pretty jacked up. I don't know if she died. I don't think she died, but I think she got injured. One of the quotes that I thought was super funny, they said, "They were brutal to those of us trying to exercise our rights and protect our community. Trying to stop police officers from doing their job is not your right. You don't have a right to do that. You don't have a right to try to stop cops from arresting a criminal, whether you agree they're criminal or not. It could be your friend that just stole something, and now what? You're going to try to fight the cops because you don't want them to bust your friend? That's illegal. You don't have a right to do that, sweetheart. In fact, you don't have a right to hang on to a car like this chick did." And they swerved. She fell off. I think they ran over her. Not to her lower half, at least. I mean, in all honesty, I feel, well, part of me is like, I mean, you got what you deserve. That's called karma. That's karma, Karen. That's all that is. I'm sure her name was Karen. It had to have been in real life, probably even too. So, yeah. LA Mayor Karen Bass says, "We're suing Trump over ICE raids." Good luck, Karen. She's going to try to make noise on it, but what's ultimately going to happen is it's going to show that she doesn't have power to do these types of things, just like Gavin Newsom doesn't have power to take the use that Trump was doing the National Guard with, right? They don't have the power to do that. Ducey asked Trump a doozy. Ducey asked Trump a doozy. But he asked him about funding for the attacks on ICE agents. Trump, of course, had a response to that.
Well, I think you have some very stupid people in the left who have some money that are making it available to these people, because you look at the guns they had, they were brand new. You look at even the clothing they were wearing, it looked like it just came out of some military shop. So you have some very stupid people that, if anything ever happened, they'd be the first to go. They don't understand that. They'd be the first to go. They'd be the first ones hit. But there is money being put behind people. When you look at the weapons they have, the newness of the weapons, rifles that just came out and they have the latest model. So there's something going on, and we'll get to the bottom of it.
And what do you think the penalty should be for these people who are, if they are found guilty, for people
Very
who
stiff.
shoot at ICE officers?
Very, very stiff. Very stiff. A long time in jail. Well, I think you have.
I love Ducey's little nice 1980s Walkman headphones. Those are cool, buddy. Those are sweet. Sweet, I say. U.S. Supreme Court blocks Florida's immigration law. This is probably pissing some people off, most of the black and white people out there. U.S. Supreme Court blocked Florida on Wednesday from enforcing a law that would make it a crime for undocumented migrants to enter the southern state. Federal judge had put a law on hold in April on the grounds it constituted state interference with federal immigration policy. An appeals court upheld the ruling by Judge Kathleen Williams, and the Supreme Court, in an unsigned order with no explanation, agreed to maintain the block on the law for the time being. Now, a lot of people instantly, that's not fair. Immigration is handled by Trump. That's why, let's just flip this around. It's the easy way to do it. If California says, Trump, you have no right to come in here and take any illegals out of here, we have decided that it's okay for illegals to be here with our sanctuary policies. Would that be okay? Probably not, would it? Yet, a lot of us want to say it's okay for Florida to have its own immigration laws. You're not allowed to do that. Now, you can have your law enforcement in Florida help ICE. That's fine. That's totally cool. You can't make immigration laws as a state, nor should you, in my opinion. I don't know. It can go both ways, that's for sure. HHS bans illegal immigrants from accessing benefits. It's a big, big step. Department of Health and Human Services on Thursday banned illegal immigrants from accessing the agency's taxpayer-funded benefits. And this gets into all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I mean, for far too long, the government has diverted hardworking American tax dollars to incentivize illegal immigrants. This is what HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said in a statement on Thursday. Today's actions change that. It restores integrity to the federal social programs, enforces the rule of law, and protects vital resources from American people. The federal public benefits that illegal immigrants will no longer have access to include certified community behavioral health clinics, community mental health services block grant, community services block grant, Head Start, health center program, health workforce programs not otherwise previously covered, including grants, loans, and yada yada, mental health and substance use disorder treatment, prevention, and recovery support service programs administered by their substance abuse and mental health services, projects for assistance in transition from homelessness grant program, substance use prevention treatment and recovery services block grant, Title 4E educational and training voucher programs, Title 4E kinship guardian assistance programs, Title 4E preventative service programs, and Title 10 family planning programs. All of that has been taken off the table. Teen girls are suing this Dem state for letting males into their sports. I was expecting it to be California, but it's Oregon. 3 teenage girls have filed a lawsuit against the state of Oregon challenging laws that permit biological males claiming to be transgender, yada, yada. Hopefully, we'll see some progress move forward on that. The Trump administration is going to subpoena Harvard for data on foreign agitators. So President Trump and his Department of Homeland Security announced Wednesday that it intends to issue subpoenas for information Harvard University may have on any misconduct, anti-Semitism, or illegal activities connected to foreign students. The move marks the latest escalation in an ongoing dispute between the Trump White House and Harvard that has already seen the Ivy League institutions potentially lose billions in federal funding. We'll see where it goes. You know, Harvard wants to fight the fight, but they are getting destroyed. They're losing their accreditation. They're losing all government funding. And now what happens if they don't go through with the subpoena? They have to give the info. What happens if they don't? Somebody's going to get arrested. NASA eyes deep staff cuts in major agency overhaul. Less than 24 hours after the Supreme Court cleared the way for Trump administration to slash bloated federal bureaucracy and gut agencies. Politico apparently came out with a report that thousands of senior-ranking NASA employees are set to exit in massive restructuring. A whole lot of people from a whole lot of areas. We'll wait until we get further down the road to see what that really means. The Politico argument or article really tries to push it into they're getting rid of all the people we need, which is what they've done with every single cutback, right? Like, again, it's just BS, stupid. Trump taps the Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. He's going to temporarily lead NASA. Right now, I guess NASA doesn't have a leader. Sean Duffy's going to handle that for the time being. We know that Musk wanted his buddy to be in there, who was a Democrat and never actually donated any money to Republican causes. One of the other things that likely pissed Musk off was that Musk wasn't going to let his buddy Musk was not allowed to have his buddy, who they're friends and there's a lot of contracts with NASA. It would have been a bad conflict of interest to have Musk's friend in that position. Again, Elon Musk just does not understand how this stuff works. He may be brilliant. He might be super smart, but he's an idiot in some cases too, it seems, which is not uncommon, by the way, in situations such as that. So Ukrainians, they're asking for more stuff. Air defense systems and whatnot. Here's Marco Rubio, short comment talking about it.
Not up for me to decide. The White House would have to make a determination about whether to come to Congress for a supplemental. But everything that's been approved and congressionally appropriated is ongoing. In fact, to the extent that the Ukrainians have asked for anything additional, what they've asked for is air defenses, Patriot units, which frankly we don't have. But we are working closely with our NATO allies. There are NATO allies that do have some batteries of Patriot missiles that they could provide or transfer over to the Ukrainians to defend, for example, the airspace of Kyiv and other places. And we've been encouraging in that front and working alongside our partners there to get deliveries of some of these systems. As you can imagine, none of these countries want to give up their Patriot systems either. But we can't make them fast enough, and part of the challenge we have in Ukraine is that munitions are being expended substantially faster. It's not up for me to decide.
Faster than we can make them. And here's the thing. Sorry, Ukraine. We're not going to forfeit or forego our security so you guys can continue to just waste all of our stuff and still lose, by the way. I mean, we might be helping keep some of those missiles from coming in, but they're still ultimately overwhelming you, and they're hitting you. This war needs to stop. And to insist that we give up our security for another country, no, well, that's not going to be supported by most of the people on our side of the fence. I think we're reasonably sure about that. Supposedly, we're down to about 25% of the Patriot missile interceptors that are needed for Pentagon's military plans. We don't even have the full amount we need, let alone the batteries, which is part of that number, but the missiles themselves. Our stockpiles are extraordinarily low. So, sorry, Ukraine. Like, literally, it's probably a good idea for you guys to realize you lost. You shouldn't have started this war. You shouldn't have trusted the deep state, but you did because you're deep state yourself. And Trump's not going to let this keep going. We're not going to give up our security so another country can extend losing a war and kill more and more people. It's not going to happen. And we're also not going to give you advanced weapons to attack Russia because that's just going to escalate this further. Now, again, we're not happy with Putin right now. We'll get there in a point shortly. But we are definitely not happy. I want to share with you guys the Mike Lindel stuff. Of course, MyPillow. Remember mypillow.com/OTF, and we will have that on the screen while this is playing out. But here is the video of me and Mike. I think it's 13 minutes. All right. It is what it is. But I thought we talked about some really cool stuff, especially when it comes to the election and what Mike's been up to. So check this out, please. Everybody, it's my big opportunity to finally get to meet with Mike Lindel. I've been teasing everybody about this. Mike has got a lot going on with his trial. We're going to spend a little time talking about that, and then always some great deals going on with MyPillow. So, Mike, what's going on with the trial? What's you got an appeal going on? Talk to us. What's going on?
Yeah, well, we had the big win for MyPillow, but obviously you probably all read about it. The media's going, Mike lost you $2 million and stuff. This was the jury said there was no malice. That I believe what I say. This is about the fight for free speech. And so we are, of course, we're appealing it. And it's a different kind of appeal, everybody. You don't go back to court and do all this. It's all done with the lawyers first and the judge. And then after that, if the judge denies it, then it goes to another higher court, but it's still done all by paper now and with lawyers. I am under a time crunch on that until July 22nd. I've got to come up with a lot of money for this. And if you guys want to help out there, you go to mypillowtrial.com. That's mypillowtrial.com. We could really use the help. And also a win there, which with MyPillow did, it actually helped our bigger cause that's out there, which is to secure our elections, get rid of these electronic voting machines and go to paper ballots. I met last week with our great president. I was at the White House for 2 days.
Nice.
With my team, and actually I was with my team too that we have for LindelTV.com. We have a White House correspondent and a Capitol Hill correspondent. Nice. And but I met with him, and he's, just so you all know, he's coming out with, he said a special prosecutor to go back in time to the 2020 election and others and go after people that did this to our country, to our election platforms, and then also being proactive with the team to go and basically enforce his executive order, which is to get rid of these machines and QR codes and all this stuff and get to paper ballots hand counted like 132 other countries have. I did tell him, I said, there's no one better that ready for that would be the team that I have out there that's been working 4.5 years. They know everything about the elections, what's happened, where the bad guys are. And by the way, and on block, he put out that executive order 2 months ago, everybody, and states are blocking it. Politicians are blocking it. And you're going, boy, I'll bet the red states aren't. Yeah, they're the worst.
Are they really?
Arkansas.
Oh,
Arkansas is terrible. who is this governor of Arkansas? Sarah Sanders. I mean, you wouldn't think that these blocks are down there. Now, the people right under her are the ones that are going after. There's a county there that went to paper ballots, and they went after them, and they're trying to tell these clerks that put this in, which they legally got it in, that they to sign a deal that they won't come after them if they don't work as a clerk or work in politics for 14 years. I mean, and of course, our fighters are not going to do that. I said we want everyone to be all the counties to be paper ballots, hand counted, and rid of them. These are the fights we're at. It's just horrible.
Well, you know,
we should have to fight.
You know so much about the elections. I was just curious if you had anything to add, or if there's any other countries. But supposedly, and I'm hearing numbers potentially up to 1.5 million fake driver's licenses from China that have infiltrated. Are they going to be able to figure out those people's voter roll? Are they going to be able to figure out who those are? Is it likely bigger than that?
Right.
Are there other countries? Do you have anything that you can share with that?
Yeah. It's way bigger than the 1.5 million that China stuck in. Remember, I've told everybody that who was the biggest attacker in the 2020 election. It was China. But you got to realize there's four. It's for the CCP. You have the Uniparty, the Deep State, and the globalists. That's the best I can say. Well, who's leading them? But we've all heard the 1.5 million things or the names of China put into these fake IDs. But it's so much bigger than that. Here's one state, Wisconsin, everybody. Wisconsin has 7.2 million names on their voter rolls in the computers, right? If everybody voted in Wisconsin that was eligible, it's 4.1 million.
Oh, wow.
What with these other 3 million names, they either don't live in Wisconsin, or they're deceased, or they're just made up names where a digit is switched. This is what we're up at. That's just one state.
Yeah.
It's every state. And in every state, I can tell you, everybody, everyone says, well, not in our state, not in ours, every state. Utah's one of the worst. I mean, you can say reasons why each one's one of the worst. And but you get to a state like Utah where it's all mail-in. It's all mail-in. You could just, no, there's really not an election. They just pick the winners and say, okay, here's who won. Because there's no accountability. You've got to get rid of these machines.
And are they going to be able to force the voter registration cleanup? I mean, I saw a lawsuit going out. I forget which state. It was North Carolina, I think it was maybe. But they're trying to clean these up. But is there something larger going around nationwide that's going to try to clean up these stupid voter rolls? Because there's, like you said, extra 3 million in just that Wisconsin. That's got to be horrible.
Right.
In all these other states.
Well, there's teams working in every state on that. And there's also from the top down too. I mean, there's different things that can be put in. If I was the president, you just got to start, telling these states, if you don't comply to what he put in his executive order on elections, we'll defund you. I mean, This is what he's used that thumb. I mean, but there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff being done, and this is not insurmountable. This is we've got to get it done before the midterms, and
and we know
otherwise we can lose our country.
Yeah, and they're going to delay it with lawsuits too. So it's kind of like I want to see it start to happen sooner than later. I don't know if there's a timing issue or what, but they're going to fight this in the courts, and we need extra time for that.
You guys, but there's things we're doing at the ground level everywhere, and a lot of counties, or most counties in the country, they can vote them out at the county level. You don't have to have them all gone. You have, but you have to have a lot gone so you can see if you have here's an election in the midterms done with machines, or with computers. Here's one without. The deviations, if they steal it, is going to be so different or so bizarre that people are going to say, open up these machines. People have to realize, like I told when I was at the White House, I told them, I showed them what my team found. Nine congressmen, 9 House representatives were stolen in the 2024 election, and 4 senators. Yeah. You guys, they're just waiting in the wings to steal back the House in the midterms. So it's critical right now that we secure our election.
Yeah, we can't wait until after and try to fight it again proactively like we've done. That's not going to work.
No, that's not going to work. And that's where you can really help with mypillowtrial.com. You guys are helping there, getting through this. We're at the tip of the spear on everything that's going on out there. And awesome. I just need your help. I need help, everybody.
I'll plug it for you extra, too, by the way. What do we got going on with some great deals from MyPillow? I love passing those along to my listeners.
Yeah, at My Pillow, you guys, my employee-owned company, coming out of this trial, we're liquidating our SSR. I mean, as far as our inventory, we have a lot of the Giza Dream Sheets,
Nice.
and we're taking them $49.98, any size, any color, to raise funds right now in these next few days. And you guys use the promo code OTF. mypillow.com/OTF.
Thank you.
You guys are going to get these Giza Dream Sheets. You're going to get my crosses that are 50% off, made in the USA. These discounts, all of them are right there for you. Or you can call 800-544-8939. I'll tell you what I'm going to do today too, everybody. If you order $75 or more at My Pillow today, I'm going to put it as $100 and some dollars. I think it's $140 in free digital gifts.
Wow.
You guys are going to go, wow, this is so you just buy $75 or more. We are really trying to raise funds. There's no middleman, you guys. 10-year warranty on the products, 60-day money back guarantee. And every one of these products is the best there is. Those Giza Dream Sheets are famous.
That's what I've got a few. I love the Giza Dream Sheets. I haven't actually tried the other ones. I'll be honest. I love the Giza Dream Sheets.
Yeah, well, once you use Giza Dream Sheets,
once you've had the best, you're not. I mean, and the premium towels and anyway, your guys' products are amazing. And by the way, I just want to tell my audience, the Giza Sheets were like $67. They're now $49.98. Don't miss out on this opportunity. And again,
no. The Giza Dream Sheets were $100 and some for the kings and the king.
Oh wow!
Kings.
And this is any size.
And now, it's any size, any color. You're talking about the
That's a third price, basically 33%.
The twin. Yeah, this is about. It's almost 33% of the price. It's like 60-some% off. This is the lowest price in history. These are wholesale prices on our famous sheets. We've never had them this low. This is the lowest in the history of My Pillow.
Is it specifically the Giza and your cross that's going, kind of some of those funds are going towards your legal woes, or is it anything that's on my site?
No, it's anything you buy today. Anything you buy today. And we're putting the specials we have. You can get the kitchen towels. People say, Mike, I have all your product. The kitchen towels and the kitchen aprons and the hot pad, all the stuff for the kitchen, they're as low as $9.99. All that stuff is on sale right now. And we've got another spot on there up to 80% off. There's closeout products. We have you guys can check it out. The slippers, we've got them. The slippers and sandals, we're closing out some of these products that, go to
the clearance tab. The clearance tab, guys. That's where you want to see it, because he's got a bunch of those slippers in there, and definitely, they're incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And the My Cross people, the My Cross, you guys 50% off. Like the cross I wear, the men's, the women's, it's two sides. You have the mother of pearl look. The other side, 100% made in the USA. And but we have you have Rev 7. By the way, if you order anything, the energy drink, you guys. If you order anything, you're going to get a free trial pack.
Oh, cool. If
you sign up with the 3-pack, the Rev 7 is the healthiest energy drink ever made. No sugar, no caffeine. I use it every day. It's the most talked about.
It's crazy delicious too. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's weirdly good. Like there's 0 calories and 10 milligrams of salt, and it's got so much flavor. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Right. And I'm gonna add another bonus for y'all too. If you guys also you can use the promo code OTF if you check out mystore.com.
Oh, nice.
There's a link for it at My Pillow, but otherwise you can go there directly, mystore.com. That's over 1,000 entrepreneurs here in the USA. 100% made in the USA product. This is to rival Amazon, but all made right here. And it helps these entrepreneurs that have come to me for help. I haven't even been able to hardly promote my store because I've been so busy and with the attacks, everything else. So that's another thing you can do. Thousands, you can shop all day long there, and you are going to just find everything made in the USA. Promo code OTF.
And I know also at the bottom of that, because I've been asked before, if you're someone that makes an American-made product and you'd like to get it on my store, Definitely.
Right.
Go to the bottom of mystore.com/OTF. Go to the very bottom, and there's something like My Products or something to that effect.
Right.
And you
Yep.
can submit down
Yep.
there. So, again, always looking for more competition against Amazon, China, if you will.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
Mike, I love what you're
Yeah.
doing. I love everything you got going on. And
Thank
thank
you.
you, by the way, for passing along these wonderful sales. And I will
Yeah, thank
definitely
you.
make sure we get some money going your way, because I want to see you keep fighting this fight. You're doing such a great job, Michael. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all your support. Thank you for having me on. And God bless you all.
Bless you, sir.
And promo code OTF, everybody.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, Mike.
All right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.
I can't believe I called him Michael. That tripped me out after the effect. Anyway, you want to, of course, go to mypillowtrial.com, mypillowtrial.com, if you can spare a few dollars to help Mike Lindel out on his big fight. I think you can still donate down on the page too, but yeah, I don't know if that's the exact same thing. So maybe just go to mypillowtrial.com, and the My Store, you can click there from the original mypillow.com/OTF, or just mystore.com/OTF. Either or. Great products over there. I love that spray-on wax cleaner. It's still one of my favorite things. A lot of really cool stuff, though. Jeffrey Epstein's chilling final message before his death. I think this is poorly timed. I think it's come out for this reason. I think it's misleading. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I do not believe Cash and Dan have lied to us, but there could be some interesting word games. And again, I go very specifically by the words they use and making sure we hold to that and not extrapolate it into some sort of meaning or broaden it further than the words themselves. The words themselves are key, and it's very, very important to remember that. That's all I can say. That's the only advice I can give, because you're going to come to different conclusions if you don't. Long story short, his lawyer was asking him at some point when he was in jail, said, "Hey, man, how you holding up?" And he goes, "Still hanging around." There it is. It's quotes. "Still hanging around." This was the day before, or night before, he supposedly killed himself. Again, I believe he's dead. Whether he was murdered or not, Dan Bongino's words, if I remember correctly, the evidence appears that he committed suicide. I mean, they found him with a rope around his neck. They probably saw the pictures. Those pictures likely weren't necessarily released, but Dan Bongino maybe saw those pictures. Now, did the guy inside his cell wrap his head around it and then force him down and just like put his knee on his back? And maybe that's why that bone broke in his neck, sort of forced strangled him? I mean, I don't know. I think he's dead, though. That's what I'm saying. Over and over. So how he died, why he died, I don't think they needed him anymore. They've still got Ghislaine Maxwell alive, and she's in Cuba, if I remember correctly. So, I don't know. Maybe she knows more. Again, who was her father? Again, I know this is such a contentious topic, but whatever. Trump said a lot of names associated with Epstein had nothing to do with this conduct. How long is this? 5 minutes? Ain't playing all that. But he did say, Bill O'Reilly, "I talked to President Trump man to man, eye to eye on St. Patrick's Day about this. And he said, I agree. There's a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct." This is probably the hardest thing for, I think, a lot of people to accept, especially a lot of the people that are just very black and white about this whole thing. That if you're on this list, you therefore are a pedophile. And that's sort of kind of messed up and dangerous. Frankly, not everybody that went there. Like, I bet a lot of people that went there, there's maybe some girls and they were flirting and stuff like that. And then at some point, like, asked, how old are you? No. Or just knowing they're nowhere near the right age, or knowing that they're married and they don't want to cheat on their wives. I'm married. This is cool. Thanks. Like, that's wow. Right? So not everybody necessarily did bad things. You could probably tell who the more successful people are in the world, the ones who seem like they've had promotions thrown at them over and over again. They maybe did. But some of the other people that just sort of always stayed where they were, maybe they didn't. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Many of us assume the answers to that question. Just because someone's name's on a list doesn't make them a pedophile. Doesn't. And I think this is hard for people. I really do. There's a lot of people that just, don't need a judge or jury. They'll just throw the rock, It's kind of sad. The FBI is closing their investigation into the Royals regarding Jeffrey Epstein. So this comes out. This is going to piss a lot of people off too. Oh, well, you're closing this down. Cash Patel is closing down, which is not true. It's a rumor that's floating around. Everyone's saying that Cash Patel and Dan Bongino are closing down the investigation. I don't believe is true. I think I've got some evidence even coming up that suggests that's not true. Whatever. I don't think it is. I think this is not what we thought. The video that they had in all the rooms likely was going someplace, but not necessarily something that Jeffrey had stored locally. And in fact, it would be stupid to store it locally because then it would give Jeffrey Epstein the power, not Mossad or whoever was behind it. I'll just say deep state because that's what it was. Could have been the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, who knows? But all of that information was going. They had dirt on people. Epstein likely didn't. Again, evidence. Dan Bongino, Cash Patel. The evidence we have suggests that we don't have anything that says they were blackmailing, working with foreign governments. They don't have evidence. That's what they said. But it doesn't mean evidence doesn't exist. Doesn't mean NSA likely doesn't know where it went. I mean, who knows? But there's a lot more to this, I think, than most of us really want to accept. We want this easy. We want it over. We want to be able to see all these horrible people fall from grace. But there's also people on that list that maybe don't deserve to fall from grace. There might be some people on that list that do deserve to fall from grace, but have been playing ball, and so maybe have bought themselves a reprieve, maybe. I don't know what the right word would be. So Prince Andrew being out of the loop, again, she's dead now. She got assassinated, by the way, or suicided, or killed herself. Right? Ghislaine Maxwell's still alive. I'm not saying she's the one calling in hits. I'm just saying I think that's why she's where she's at. I think she's the one that matters. But Prince Andrew, she was the key person. Here's the picture. Nobody else probably willing to say anything. Now, was England's queen and king behind her suicide? Probably. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on her name, but that's up here, I think. I hope. Nope. Who knows? Nonetheless, their key witness is dead. Department of Justice is still reviewing the Jeffrey Epstein-related records for possible release. So they're still looking at releasing stuff. They don't, again, want to disclose anything that shouldn't be disclosed. They don't want to disclose anything that may be misleading. They don't want to, again, they have documents. They didn't say they don't have documents. Everyone's like, well, you don't have any clients now? How do you define that is probably questionable. Again, it's a weird choice of words. Like, did they have clients? I don't know. People would show up. Jeffrey Epstein's job was to entertain them and make sure they did as much bad stuff as they could. Kind of like Diddy, to throw a party. I don't think Epstein was allowed to question it. He wasn't that far up the food chain. I just don't think stuff is compartmentalized. Epstein didn't know anything more than what his job was, which I think was shuttling people back and forth. He was pretty much going to trial for that, but they killed him before the trial finished. Why? Because that might have come out. So again, we're Ghislaine, I don't know if she was always involved. I don't know if she was able to get out of that or if there was someone else that was trained on how to drive the submarine. I mean, she's where she's at. So to me, it sounds like the FBI is still dealing with this, just not the way we all want. Judge blocks Trump's birthright citizenship order after the Supreme Court ruling. First off, the Supreme Court didn't really rule on the birthright citizenship. They ruled on the fact that federal courts don't have the right to stop the executive branch. That's what they decided. The birthright part was going to be left until later. So then what followed up, and this was one of the things that the Supreme Court would allow, most likely, is a class action. And supposedly this U.S. District Judge Joseph LaPlante, he's an appointee of George Bush, which means he's evil, by the way. He agreed to grant class action status to a lawsuit challenging the order. Now, what I don't know and what I'd be very curious about was, did they actually file all the paperwork to make it a class action? Or did he just decide to make it a class action and then therefore do that? Which I don't think he legally can do. So we'll see. This will be appealed. It'll be another thing. And I'm sure, my guess is, I don't have to say sure, but I'm reasonably sure that the appellate court's going to shoot this one down and be like, nope, we'll let that bubble up, but nope, you don't have the power to do this. It wasn't turned into a class action the proper way. You've overstepped your bounds yet again. No. And I think because this guy's already got a habit of doing this kind of nonsense, they're going to probably, I would assume, somewhat look at it in a more strict sense. Like, here you are trying to do it again after the Supreme Court's already said no. And so you're just going to arbitrarily make, again, I don't know. I'm figuring, but I could be wrong. I'd like to see more information. We'll see if that comes out. If any of you guys have that and I'm just missing it, I can't go digging on every story. It's already long enough as it is. Crap, I'm at an hour. Shit. Big beautiful bill. Fight for school choice ends. Essentially, Republicans caved on this one, kind of. And states can opt out of the school voucher thing. Schools can opt out or they can choose to go with it. So the concern obviously is if you let people not go to the shitty schools and take that money and go to a good school, that good school is going to get even more money and become an even better school. And then the shitty school is going to get worse because it was a shitty school and nobody wants to go there. And so maybe just shut down those shitty schools is kind of where I'm at with it. And if you've got better places to send the kids, maybe you do something like that. But these are the things we need to kind of fight for, because just keeping a school open just because, dude, if the school's not getting the grades and the marks and not doing its job or teaching all sorts of crazy radical shit, and you don't want your kid to go through that, yeah, yank your money. Because it becomes, now you want to be a marketably a good school. And it goes against what these Dems and this communism kind of thing is. So, yeah, it's changing. Senate committee votes to block Trump FBI headquarters move. Do not get this at all. The committee, we had, of course, Republican Murkowski, was it? Yeah, Murkowski. She backed the Democrats, of course, backing this proposal. The committee voted 15-14 to adopt language that seeks to block funding from being used to relocate the headquarters from its current J. Edgar Hoover building site to any location other than the Green Belt of Maryland. This site, apparently. I don't know why they wanted to go someplace different than this, and my guess is I would still think espionage or stuff like that, like they're going to have to go through this entire building before they move. The other part of it is this city would have gotten a bunch of money having all these people living in that proximity, which would be good for it could be a lot of things. I don't understand why this is happening. Again, hopefully we'll get some more clarity with time, but this is what happened. I'm not necessarily supposed to know why everything happens. I try to help sometimes. This is Ducey asking about James Comey and John Brennan to President Trump.
Hey, President Trump. James Comey and John Brennan now under criminal investigation related to the Trump-Russia probe. Do you want to see these two guys behind bars?
Well, I know nothing about it other than what I read today, but I will tell you, I think they're very dishonest people. I think they're crooked as hell. And maybe they have to pay a price for that. I believe they are truly bad people and dishonest people. So whatever happens, happens.
Hey, President Trump.
Yeah, that looks like I don't know if that's the fake Trump. I forgot to point that video out yesterday. Kind of looks like he's got those weird white rings around. Anyway, who knows? There's definitely more than one Trump, though. Justice Department files statement of interest in the Illinois case concerning states' obligations under the National Voter Registration Act. So they filed this statement, Judicial Watch versus Illinois State Board of Elections, regarding the requirements under the National Voter Registration Act, NVRA. You got to clean up your rolls, and we need proof. So they're filing some paperwork to kind of push in that direction. Hopefully we make progress. Dozens of troubled NYPD cops were forced to resign. They had a crap police academy commandant or whatever they call them, right? So a bunch of people just got noticed. I guess 30 cops are like, no, you didn't pass. It was probably DEI stuff or whatever. You didn't pass. No, you're out. You got to resign in 24 hours or we'll fire you. Take your pick, which I don't know which is better. If you resign, I don't think you get unemployment. If you get fired, I think you get unemployment. I don't know, but then it's on your record you got fired, but okay. Anywho. 31 construction workers reached safety after there was a partial collapse. There was a tunnel boring thing going on under Los Angeles. Kind of crazy. I don't know if they're putting like a subway or something weird down there. maybe so they can transport children. Who knows, right? But this boring machine, I think, was almost a mile away from this where the individuals were working, and it caved in. Fortunately, not a full-blown cave-in. They were able to actually get over it and get out, and they escaped, and nobody was, I don't think, injured much or too bad. So fortunately, that was good stuff. Livestock trade with Mexico has been halted over this screw worm outbreak that's going on in Mexico. So we're like, yep, we're not taking any of your beef. Done. This is going to work out interesting. I don't think produce either necessarily. I don't know. That'd be interesting. Halt trade. Let's see if let's shut down live cattle, bison, and horse trade through the southern border. Okay, so it's not necessarily produce, because that would affect a lot of things, by the way. That's a big move, let's see. Puerto Rico, Guam, and our other territories are very heavily in debt. Anyone surprised? Probably all sorts of crazy money waste and abuse going on. Again, no disrespect to anybody from Puerto Rico, Guam, or any of our other territories, just probably like that. And if you're like any of our states. Older adults outnumber children in more U.S. states. Median age hits a new high. So, again, people are freaking out. This really comes down to pensions and stuff like that. And, yeah, I mean, this is part of what we're going through right now. Instead of just trying to get a bunch of people to pop out a bunch of babies, that ain't going to fix the problem, because none of them are going to start working. Well, hell, if we don't get things under control, none of them are going to start working until they're 40. So it won't matter. They'll just be sucking off the system too. Long story short, though, yeah, popping kids out right now is not going to work. And the trend has been happening the way it is because they're extraordinarily expensive. I covered that story recently. The price of having a child now is like 12 and a half times what it should be relative to inflation and everything else. So it's just enormous how much we're charging our kids to have kids. It's too expensive. Relationships don't work. And here in California, crap, divorce is so easy. It's unfortunate. And the second you acquire anything, you see relationships fall apart. And you're just like, And the guy's got kids. Like, it's just, it's brutal. So, yeah, we got a problem. It's unquestionable. It's happening all over the world right now. Trump tariffs target 7 more nations. The Philippines are on there. Brunei, Moldova, Algeria, Libya, Iraq, and Sri Lanka. They actually added Brazil, too. Unveil a 50% tariff on Brazil goods. This is because they're pissed off about Bolsonaro. What's funny is Luis, or what's his face, the current leader, De Silva, Lula, he is actually, he's actually threatening to add reciprocal tariffs. And I bet Trump's like, do it. I dare you, because we'll reciprocate back. We'll go to 100%. How far do you want to go, Lula? You go, boy. You just keep taking it, because, this is going to hopefully help get you out of office as well. Nothing's ever wasted, my friends. Nothing is wasted. Brazilian currency, real, or the real, I think it's called, falls more than 20 or 2%. Good God, Dan, what's wrong with your face? Brazilian currency, real, falls more than 2% against the U.S. dollar after Trump announced 50% tariffs. That already did a giant pain in the ass right there. Yeah. So stocks, I don't know. Let's see where we're at. Dow's up a little bit, 0.5%. NASDAQ's up 1%. NASDAQ's been performing admirably well. I'm curious. I mean, that's a lot of the tech stocks, and that's AI and everything right now is huge. Gold's getting back up to where it should be. It's been hovering down around 3,300 lately, but it's only $50 difference, not a big bit. And right now at 3,333, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool number. So gold's a good thing. You guys know drslikesgold.com. Not going to talk more about it at the moment. Journalist Natasha Ray, she claimed that Macron's wife was born male. You can see the picture here. It's very beautiful. I don't know if I can make that bigger. A little bit bigger. Yeah, a little bit bigger. Pretty much looks like her. Same stupid expression and basically same stupid glasses. Same dead look in the eyes. Eyebrows are easy to change. The nose does look a little pugged up like hers, but she looks like she had a nose job. Kind of kept the same basic shape, but thinned it down a little bit maybe. Ears are hard to tell. She's always wearing that stupid wig. But I'm just saying, this chick got acquitted by the Paris court. According to the lawyer, Ray now intends to sue Bridget for the fraud during the trial, which is interesting, which means if there was any truth whatsoever, and she's just saying, here's my evidence, what do you got? Yeah, whatever. That's pretty funny. That's pretty damn funny. And couldn't have happened to a nicer group of people, the French. Love it, you bastards. Not the people, well, maybe. Farage's Reform Party earns major defection. I guess this is a big deal. At first, I thought this was going to be the Barry Manilow news because Barry Manilow supposedly supports Farage. So if you're a Brit, oh, yay, you got Barry Manilow on your team. That's awesome. But Sir Jake Barry, I guess he's more of an important kind of guy. He's a former conservative Tory party chairman. He announced his defection to Nigel Farage's Reform Party. Notably, Barry lost his parliamentary seat in 2024 when the Tories were displaced by Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, his Labour Party, and after 14 years in government. So he's choosing new friends and new sides. Von der Leyen, she survived her little vote of no confidence. Figured she would. 357 votes were needed. She got 175 that were in favor of getting the no vote or just kicking her ass out, whichever the case is. This isn't a surprise, the deep state, but this is a little reminder to the deep state how close we're getting. So we'll see. A bunch of people, 18 people didn't vote. 360 wanted to keep her there. We know these are probably Germany, France. I don't know where Italy fell on this. I'd be curious. But yeah, some of the standard people you would expect on that list are probably on that list. People like Turkey and was it Viktor Orban in Hungary? These people are definitely not in favor. So we'll see how that continues to move forward. It'll happen again. Surviving crew members that survived this ship that sank. They actually sank the damn ship. They literally did. So those Houthis not only shot RPGs at it, they literally then put explosives and blew it up and sank the boat. They captured anyone that was still alive, and they're now prisoners. This is a very bold move by the Houthis. I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish by this. I'm assuming to try to drag Israel back in the war? Or us, maybe? I don't know. This was a Greek-owned ship. I mean, I don't know, Greece? Is it time to, it's a time, it's a place, it's a motion? I don't know, maybe Greece is the way we should be feeling? No? Too soon? Maybe. Probably. Trump is getting tired of Putin's bullshizzle. He is. It's weird. Some shows I don't want to cuss. Sometimes I do. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. He said the war never should have happened. A lot of people are dying and it should end. I don't know. We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin. If you want to know the truth, he's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless. So Trump's saying the right words. Like, he's not being a dick to Putin, but he's like, dude, you keep telling me that you're like, we want peace. And we've got a story suggesting that. We want peace. Show me, don't tell me. It's a great Rush song. Let me send it to you. Of course, Trump would think in music terms, I'm sure, because he's like that. Trump opens the door to Senate sanctions bill as frustrations grow with Moscow. So now he's like, all right, he politically has to do this. He politically has to give them some missiles. He's like, bro, you're costing us money now, man. Come on. So this is something they're trying to do behind the scenes with Putin. This is totally what's going on. So Trump opens the door. He's not just immediately sanctioning him. He's not running out there going, Putin's a big piece of shit. No. Oh, now I've cussed. All right. So I figured I was probably going to cross that threshold. But I was just so proud of myself for as far as I made it. Russia prefers peaceful solution to Ukraine conflict, they say. They say, show me, don't tell me. Right? Because I've heard it all before. You got to really know the song. If you caught that, you're welcome. Good song in your head. Poland threatens to close key Ukraine military aid hub. So they've got this airport. All of the NATO shit's flying into there, right? All the stuff that they keep feeding into Ukraine. First off, it makes it a target. Big time. But second off, Poland's pissed. They're like, dude, you guys NATO doesn't talk to us about anything, right? Just stuff's just showing up. And they're like, no, you need to talk to me. You need to let me in on this. No, fuck you in the butthole. So Poland's kind of pissed. They're threatening to kind of not allow people to use their base anymore, which would be a huge problem. It might be Poland actually pulling back, Polanding back. They're not maybe supporting the Ukraine war. Probably quite possibly because if it does escalate, Poland's going to die. And frankly, they've been through enough in the world, through World War II and stuff. And some very good friends of the family that immigrated here from there. France names the red line in the Ukraine conflict. This is stupid. Moscow insists that any resolutions to the conflict must comprehensively address its security concerns. Russia's officials want Ukraine to acknowledge the new territorial realities on the ground, agree to neutral status, and guarantee that its Russian-speaking population is not discriminated against and undergo demilitarization and denazification. The problem that the Francie France man has with his Francie France pants is they're like, look, Russia's saying that you have to have no weapons. And then you're saying they can't be part of NATO? That's it. That's a red line for us. Really? Really? Frenzy France pants? Really? That's it? We've pretty much demonstrated that NATO wants to start World War III with Ukraine being the proxy. And we've realized you guys are really literally just at war with Russia through Ukraine. Stop being pussies and just go to war with Russia if that's what you want to do, NATO. But let's maybe try to leave Ukraine out of it. I don't think Russia wants to run in there. He's already stated exactly what he wants to do, very specifically, unlike what NATO says. You know, we just want to keep attacking Russia. We don't really have a reason other than we hate them. They're too white for us, I guess, maybe, right? Who knows? It's craziness. Patriot's very expensive is what Trump is saying. These missiles are extraordinarily expensive. These batteries are very expensive. They're like $1 billion plus per thing, and they're rare. There's not a bunch of extra of them floating around. Biden's already given them all away, and most of the countries that have them don't want to get rid of them. You want to give yours to Ukraine? Hell no. Well, stop making it sound like we gotta. Nobody's got them. Russia and China right now totally own us when it comes to if they wanted to attack with missiles. Now, I know, and I think Trump's playing strong when we're weak, maybe. Or he literally is aware of some of the weaponry we have, and we're like, missiles aren't really needed anymore. But let's keep pretending they are. We're making money selling them to a bunch of people, so there's something to be said about that. Like, that's part of what that's about. That's part of what the trade stuff is Trump selling our military equipment to our allies. That's crap tons of money. There's contracts with training, software upgrades. It's just, it's a lot of money back to us. And they're American companies, so they can't hide behind another currency and hedge their shit like some places do, where they sell the product for a reduced amount to the United States. I used to work for a company that was based in New Zealand, and they controlled the price, the transfer price, basically, transfer cost. And so what we'd buy it for and then what we could sell it for was not that big a margin, so they couldn't tax us heavily here in the United States. It was actually kind of cool how they did it, but it's sneaky. Secretary of State Mark Rubio said he echoed President Trump's disappointment and frustration and lack of progress. He met face-to-face with Lavrov, I think it was, and Vladimir, And so, again, they're pissed off. Just like, look, this isn't... It's all about the either hurry up and get off the pot, or like we're trying to stall over here, and you guys are just like annihilating this dudes on a daily basis. We got to get this to stop. That ain't cool. And I got to get this video to stop. I'm running out of town. I got a live show coming up in just over an hour. EU's von der Leyen issues threat to China over Russia's support, basically. So she's now going to try to get pissy with China. It's just very interesting how things are playing out right now. I don't think the European Union's that strong in the big picture. And China's kind of getting hit from both of us right now. So they're going to get hammered because they're losing trade partners. And the fact that EU's doing this is impressive. We'll see how things continue to play out because China does have means of getting kind of crazy. Ukraine arrests Chinese nationals for trying to steal missile tech. Actually, Ukrainian created missiles, and they were trying to steal these plans or whatever and send them back to China. It really just bugs me how China is so incapable of being able to make their own shit, right? They've got to steal everyone's technology and then start making it. So it's out of control. It's kind of ridiculous. Philippines Defense Secretary weighs in on the Chinese aggressions. It's my girl Tiffany, but we don't have time for it. Basically, they don't think it has anything to do with Trump helping them. It's just something that's been going on in that area for a long time. China's moving forward with its plans to build a big giant data center with over 115,000 NVIDIA chips, which are currently restricted for them. Yet somehow they either got a bunch of them or snuck out of, I don't know, they've probably working deals through other countries that are allowed to buy them, threatening them or whatever. I'm sure Trump is going to be like, so where the hell are these coming from? And they honestly probably can tell. Most things have like the equivalent of a MAC address probably, so most likely those chips they'd be able to figure out where they were sold. CCP-style messaging on Shenyun services, New York Times reporting. It's just more to point out the fact that New York Times is a communist rag. They literally are supporting China. There's been a number of cases where they've done this kind of stuff. They don't talk about the Uyghurs. They don't talk about the organ harvesting stuff that's going on out there. It's just insane what all's happening. So, again, very sad. China, CCP, it's not China. It's the Chinese people need to be liberated, and hopefully one day we can do that. CVS apparently bought this company called Omnicare, who did fraud the government a crap ton, and they got fined $949 million. Damn. Originally, it was way lower than that. and then they just bumped it way up, and apparently they filed 3.3 million false claims. I don't even know what it actually cost the government, but yeah, that's just, wow, right? There's some people that are a little surprised how much and how big that actually is. DARPA supposedly breaks wireless power record, beaming energy over 5 miles away. This is kind of cool if you think about maybe having drones that are sort of out of reach, and you can maybe keep them lit up in the sky very easily and keep them flying for a while. And all you got to do is maybe just get enough of these little mini drones to be able to bounce stuff, and you could bounce energy. So you can have a producer of energy over here and bounce it many, 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 many miles and keep things working. So that's kind of interesting. Neat technology. So again, we're doing some crazy stuff. And finally, Musk broke the silence on the controversy surrounding his AI chatbot. He said Grok was too compliant to user prompts, too eager to please and be manipulated, essentially. That is being addressed. And that's what it was, is people were prompting Grok to say racist things. So so Musk would look bad. Again, I'm not going to stick up for Musk at all right now. But they did come out with the new Grok. Is it 3 or 4? Whatever it is, they came out with a new one. And this thing is, Musk is toting quite a bit of improvement on it. So we'll see whatever we figure out from there. Turkey becomes first country to block Grok after the AI bot insults Erdogan. They're probably going to unblock it now that Musk is dealing with what's been going on. There was people obviously from Turkey that were trying to get it to say mean things about Erdogan. So whatever. It is what it is. And finally, cocoa supply. There's big problems they've been having where they grow cocoa. This Cote d'Ivoire, I don't know how to say that. I was going to look it up, and I'm like, but Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon is 4 places where a lot of the cocoa, or cacao, however you say it. Cacao is how it's typically been pronounced every time I've ever heard it from any chefs or anything. And that's the bean. Most of the chocolate that we have here in America is like hardly any cacao in it. It's crap. But people that are serious about making chocolates and stuff like that, yeah, this is going to cause chocolate prices to go up a lot. Apparently it's trading around $8,000 a ton, which is 450% higher than 2022. So yeah. You chocolate lovers, sorry, it's not a good time to like chocolate. I love you guys, though. It's always a good time for that. I've got my my Law of One show coming up in a little over an hour. I got to get this thing exported and uploaded, and then we'll get the ball rolling. But I love you guys. We're going to keep moving forward. Help out Mike Lindel if you can, please, by going to mypillowtrial.com. mypillowtrial.com. If you can donate even $1, every little bit helps. And the man is doing a lot to try to help with the elections as well. So, yeah, good guy, and also great products. Try to pick some stuff up and use, of course, OTF coupon code. It will save you money. It'll get you some really cool deals. Dude, Mike Lindel found us, folks. He found us, and that's why he's on our show. Just saying, it's you guys. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.